We're back. Hello, everybody. What's up? Welcome to Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge live. It has been a long time coming, and I thought what better opportunity to come back live is to be joined by our latest network edition of BATUU, and kind of just talk about what's going on. So first of all, how are you doing? I guess it's afternoon, so that's the other great thing is where it's kind of like this is your lunchtime or evening, so it hits perfect kind of in both countries. But how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Today has been the first day all week that I've actually been able to concentrate on anything, so that's nice.
That's good. But yeah, I mean, this is like your third episode for our third show for the week. I mean, work.
Yes,
I almost said
on the
working
network.
girl. That might not be a good term there, but
Yeah, I'm all over the network this week. I think everybody's getting a little sick of me, maybe. I don't know. But yeah.
Oh, cool. It seems like people are kind of liking the epic intro and things. Yes, that was kind of like a throwback to oops, still learning all this kind of stuff. I think I'm driving at the helm myself. But yes, Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge. We're going to talk about a couple different things. We're going to kind of touch on, a little bit of the news, but that was covered perfectly in yesterday's show. If you have not seen it, Beyond the Blast Doors Live with Arzu, David, and Pete, they have definitely covered like hot off the press kind of stuff. We'll touch on a little bit of kind of just like more of like, because I was kind of gutted I missed Carrie Fisher's birthday yesterday, but got some
Keep
fun
the party
stories
going today.
and exactly we'll just keep the party going. That's what she would do. But we'll also talk about some things, some video game things. Got to talk about Voodoo Squadron and things like that. But first of all, if you are new to the show, Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge broadcasts from a canon planet every episode. And so today's episode is from the planet of BATUU, which is perfect because Galaxy's Edge. We usually traditionally have like a kind of Jerry, our navigator from Bombadcast, will kind of give us some canon facts. But to be honest with you, we're still learning canon facts about BATUU and things. And actually, I kind of wanted to segue that into what you guys were talking about on the show yesterday, was that we're getting a new VR kind of game, Tales from a Galaxy's Edge. But it's interesting that Yoda shows up in it, alive.
Yeah.
He's not a Force ghost.
No, I think part of the timeline is supposed to be prequel era. I don't know where I saw this. But if that's the case, then that would make sense. Although there's a lot of big name people showing up at this supposedly remote outpost.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's like, is there going to be a little bit of a jump? Or I guess to be fair, if it's prequel era, that could still be C-3PO and R2-D2
Yeah.
kind of thing. Because they are kind of like in the preview of things we got, they were showing that like Oga's Cantina is not Oga's Cantina yet.
Right.
And they make a reference to Savvy, but they don't call him Savvy's workshop. It's like Savvy's like junk pile and things. So it's going to be interesting. And so you have
Yeah.
the Oculus. Is it Oculus?
Yeah, the Oculus
Okay.
Quest.
So are you going to
Yeah.
get it on the 19th of November?
Yes, I'm going to. Yeah, probably right on day one because I
Nice.
enjoyed the last Star Wars game on the Oculus, so I'm excited for
Brilliant.
a new one.
I really want to do it, but I was saying to Arzu before we went live that it's like I'd have to kind of do it in a controlled setting because yeah, I don't think with the epilepsy sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't. But I'm really looking forward to it and I'm really excited. But also, funny little tidbit, I believe it is coming out on the year anniversary of Jedi Fallen Order.
Yes, that was the same
That or
time, wasn't it?
Resistance Reborn, one of them. I know because like in November last year, we were just it was like a good month to be a
Oh,
Star
November
Wars.
was awesome last
Yeah,
year.
like we got Resistance Reborn and we got Jedi Fallen Order. Mandalorian was like at its prime. Like November was a great
I think
month.
Resistance Reborn was at the end of November, so I think the 19th was Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay, that makes sense. And you would
Yeah,
definitely know that you're the book
the book
expert
one.
and yes. So let's have a quick chat. I'm so terrible about this, but I'm actually got 8 viewers, so I'm going to say hi to people in chat. So we've got Gilster, we've got Nick, we got Space Jesus. Hello, Space Jesus. I love that name. So I'm going to butcher this one. We got Gillenorian Saber. Sorry. butchering that. Just a little podcast. And of course, we've got Andy. Love Andy. So Mr. Rez, cannot forget Mr. Rez. So yeah, thank you for joining us. So kind of the other things to talk about. We wanted to geek out a little bit about Galaxy's Edge for us. So we have brought our lightsabers.
You did.
Yes, we have.
You put the blade out, it's sitting on the floor because that would have been really
mine's
unwieldy.
like sitting right here. But I have to be careful because this could look like an Ann Summers party, and I think only British people will get that.
I don't know what that is.
Look it up. I'm not gonna.
Oh boy.
Just look up Ann Summers. Not right now, but yeah, it almost looks like we're about to talk about an Ann Summers party here. But I think I did Elemental in Nature for mine.
Yeah, the wood and the
well, because I loved like the leather grip and everything. But the interesting thing is, you and I have both been to actual Galaxy's Edge, but we've been to the opposite ones. So you have a story about your kyber crystals.
I do.
Things.
So my brother and I built lightsabers at the same time, and we both got blue kyber crystals. So, he was visiting me while I was living in California. So he went home, and I was thinking, okay, let me surprise him and get like a green kyber crystal because he was torn between the two. And I'm like, let me get a green kyber crystal for him, and I'm going to get a different one for myself. So they were sold out while we were there, so we couldn't do it at the time. And then I saw online that somebody was saying, they got them back in stock, but you have to buy a holocron. And I'm like, I don't want to spend $50 per person if all I want is the crystal. So I went to Doc Ondar's the next week. And my plan had just been to quietly ask a cast member if I can just buy the crystal. Very politely, very just sort of, hey, I'm from out of town and I can't come back again. Can I? So I go up to this cast member at Doc Ondar's and very quietly, I'm like, so I hear you have kyber crystals. And this guy thinks that I'm doing a bit, that I am role playing, that I'm acting like a kyber crystal smuggler. Like, I don't know what he thought I was doing. So he just like looks around for a second, goes, yeah, I got kyber crystals, and then just pulls them out of his pocket and like covertly shows them to me. And then I'm like, okay, so where do I get them? He's like, well, you're going to want to go up to the front and tell them, now beware, you can only get one of each color because of like some in-universe rule. I'm like, okay, thank you. So it was this whole unplanned skit. And then I wound up getting a green one for my brother and a yellow one for myself.
Oh, brilliant. So yeah, funny story. When I had mine built, or when I built mine, I did blue. It's funny, actually, what I did. Oh my God, this is so geeky, but I'm in good company. That I closed my eyes. I had an idea what I wanted, but I closed my eyes and I just let my hand land on it. When they have you, like they bring them out and you choose. So I just kind of closed my eyes and literally was just like, okay, I'm just gonna let my hand touch. And so I got a blue one. But then, or no, was it blue or green? I got a green one. That's what it was. I don't remember.
It would have been a blue one because you're green.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. So I got a blue one, but then I have a plan. Like, it hasn't quite happened yet, but when I do game streaming, I have something called Choose Your Side, where you get to basically vote what colors are things. So I was like, well, I'm gonna have the lightsaber in the back. It hasn't happened yet, obviously, but I had to buy a red crystal. And then my better half was like, well, you need another one, get another one. So I was going to get a yellow one because I love Bastila Shan from Knights of the Old Republic. I don't know a lot about the Guardians from like Rebels. I think it's Rebels, not Clone Wars. Maybe they're both. The Temple Guardians, but I was just like, okay, I'll do that. And she was just like, no one has yellow. Get a cool one. Get a green one like Luke Skywalker. I was like, okay, yeah, fine. And then end of The Rise of Skywalker, Rey has a yellow one, and I just literally was just like wanting to give evils, just like, really, nobody cool. But you know what? Silver lining. I never thought I'd buy like any of the legacy sabers, but you know what? I will buy that Rey one. And actually, the Cal Kestis one, going back to Jedi Fallen Order, the Cal Kestis one won the vote. I think there's another one that also won a vote, but basically they let you kind of choose what was going to be the next one to show up to the shop and everything. And my mate Yoshi, he has a friend who designed it. And like, how cool is that you know the person who designed the lightsaber, and now that lightsaber is going to be made. And like, yeah, like that's so yeah, it's very Oh, Andy is asking. So he asks, do your crystals match your Jedi personalities, or do you just like those colors?
I got the blue one because Obi-Wan Kenobi has a blue lightsaber.
Mm.
That's why. The
Well,
yellow one, I for some reason had it in my head that Ahsoka has a yellow lightsaber, and then I realized it's just a really bright green. But then at the end of Rise of Skywalker, through my tears, I'm like, well, at least my crystal matches Rey's. Then just that was the silver lining for about 5 minutes before I started crying. I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep doing this. It just keeps coming up.
No, it's safe space. Everyone's a safe space, you know, so it's all good. It's all good. I love it. People in the chat are like pretty much like naming, like Andrew, Joshua, Nicholas. We're like saying everyone's full names. Like that's what I love about the chat. Sometimes it'll be like its own conversation. I'm guilty, and I'm guilty of this too. Like when I'm like kind of when I can try to watch the shows live or whatever, like comment in it. Sometimes I think one time we were randomly having a conversation about the difference between like pants and trousers and British terminology, and yeah. So
meanwhile, there's a show going on.
Pretty much, but it's definitely fun. But yeah, I would say to answer Andy's question, I think mine was kind of. You'll find from me, everything is like very meta, but there's also like 3 reasons in it. So it was like, oh yeah, you know, because I want to do game streams where it's gonna be, I'm gonna have to either have a red or a blue, and that yeah, so yeah, definitely. But like this,
have you noticed they make different sounds when you change the?
Yes, yes. Oh,
the sounds a little annoying. It sounds like. Oh, I don't know where I went for a second. But the yellow one sounds like it's shaky almost.
Yeah, like it's unstable kind of thing. Yes, you are back.
Like the other ones are like very clear, like zoom, and then it turns on. But the yellow one almost like makes a clunk noise right when you turn it on. That's what drew my attention to, because the blue and green aren't that different, but the yellow one is. So next time you're at Galaxy's Edge, Shannon, you should get a yellow crystal.
Well, 2022, I'm hoping. So but I gotta say, I mean, mad props to the better half. We got on Rise of the Resistance like the week it opened, and she's amazing. She knows it, but she's amazing. But it was one of those like you had to do this virtual queue thing, and people were getting up at stupid o'clock in the morning, like 4 a.m. queuing and things like that. And we luckily went on a day where it had been raining, and so a lot of the not normal. The locals weren't going to be like in the queues and things because it'd been absolutely pissing it down. So we were able to get into the park and get like the boarding groups. But we were like boarding group 107. I'll remember it vividly. I remember going immediately to a cast member. It was like 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning going, okay, we're this boarding group. Do you think a couple hours? And she's like, oh, it'll be the end of the day. We're like, great. Like, so I don't understand why sometimes people are like, oh, I have to write it first thing in the day. Actually, we were really happy. We're like, great, we got our boarding pass. We're going to go enjoy the park. We're going to go see Disney Springs, all sorts of stuff. But I just truly, I just, yeah, my reaction video is like in my personal YouTube channel, and it's just me like screaming. And there's like a thing at the end, and I wasn't expecting it. I think so.
I thought I had gotten a chance to go. It was closed.
I know.
Because I was there over the summer, and then they opened like.
I know. I was like, oh. But and actually, ironically, I was there. But I actually also happened to be there, like when the cast was there to promote the Rise of Skywalker, and I remember like people were tweeting me and being like, "Do you know that they're there?" And I was like, "Are they? You sure it's Florida, not California?" And everything. And then yeah, but sitting there at Beauty and the Beast live, kind of going, "They're literally just like there." Nah. So I wouldn't know what to say, but so no, it's just really cool seeing a lot of things for Galaxy's Edge and BATUU's namesake and whatnot. So I got to try the Sims game out. I think I'm probably the only one in the network and probably in the sphere. I don't play the Sims, so. I'm so excited. I've played the Sims since the beginning. Like I played it when I was in college, like because it came out really like my junior year of high school, because it was like 2002. And then by like 2004, I was like a freshman and I had it like in the background kind of thing. But yeah, I'm excited to try that. So it's cool to see BATUU. But to kind of leave on like our BATUU chat, this is what I think would be neat. I don't know how it's going to work, especially now in a post-COVID world. But I know some people were complaining that it's like, oh, but it's very new trilogy, sequel trilogy era. Now, obviously, minus the TIE Epsilon and the dish on the Millennium Falcon, what stops them from just changing the era? So, like, for example, they already have a Darth Maul. Just get a few people to be in clone troopers, have Darth Maul walking around, have Ahsoka Tano walking around, then, spread out the days. So maybe on a Monday, it's Clone Wars era. And then maybe, on a Wednesday, you've already got a Darth Vader. Get a few, stormtroopers, walk around. There you go. And then, on a Friday, your sequel trilogy, you could just revolve out the eras kind of thing. And how cool would it be to, like, soon you might be able to have, like, Din Djarin and the child walking around BATUU kind of thing. And you don't have to change a lot because, like, Batuans or whatever, they don't have to change. But obviously, that's the
I think
theory.
the only thing stopping them is they would have to cycle the merchandise out from all the stores. Because, like, the toy stand has the, hang on, where's my little guy?
This is why I'm glad I
this little guy. Like, they have all these handmade plush. Like, Ewoks are forever, but if it's prequel era, then you can't sell, like, the Rey doll. So you'd have to pull all those out. I think that's the only thing.
Okay. Realistic.
Corner because it's set very clearly on one specific day in BATUU that is the epilogue to the book Black Spire.
Oh, is it?
Also a little bit the epilogue to Crash of Fate. Yeah, because I don't quite know what happens in Rise of the Resistance, but right at the end of Crash of Fate, they're like, the First Order is here and there's a battle going on overhead. I'm like, that sounds like it's Rise of the Resistance. And then in the end of Black Spire, Vi Moradi, who's the in-universe spy,
I love her,
is there going, well, Kylo Ren and not Hux, sorry, Kylo Ren is coming with his stormtroopers. I'm going, okay, so that's the day on BATUU. That's when you're there. So,
but maybe, you know me, I'm always trying to, because Andy's digging this idea. Maybe they are able to also have other, with this kind of prequel set, Tales of BATUU. That might be, I don't know, but you bring up a very good point.
You know what they should have
about the merch.
It should have been like sequel era BATUU in California and prequel era BATUU, because we go there in Thrawn Alliances, prequel era BATUU in Orlando. And that incentivizes people to go to both.
That would have pissed me off as someone that's like, it takes a lot of...
Like, well, I have to see both now. And the rides could be different. Like, you've got the Millennium Falcon and Rise of the Resistance here, and then over there, you've got Anakin Skywalker running around, you've got the clone trooper. Like, I don't know. But you could have, if you'd made them same world, but just different times, because it's all a long time ago anyway.
Yes, far, far away.
And it would add, like, collectors would go crazy because the merch is different in both parks. And
yeah, I wonder what Andy and Josh would think about that in chat, kind of thing. But
I don't know. Let me know, Andy and Josh. Would you guys go crazy if the merch was different in both parks?
Yeah. So I didn't think about the merch. You're right. Dang it. Because that's what I was like, because and Andy's right. They keep updating Star Tours. Like, I think there's something ridiculous. Like, there's like 27 different outcomes you could get because there's like 3 different bits. The only Star Tours I did was the one in Disneyland Paris, so I didn't even understand. Hearing C-3PO in French is
quite something.
Is hilarious. You would understand him because you speak French. I do not. I speak Spanish. Well, I say speak Spanish. I can ask questions in Spanish. Like, I understand it better than I speak it, but certainly can't write it. But it was just like, with French, I can't even do the pronunciation because every time I look at it, I want to try to pronounce it like it's in Spanish. And I don't know how true this is, but here we go. We're going to have like a linguistics. I also heard that like French in Canada is different than French in France, and you can tell.
I mean, some of the words are different just because they evolved in different directions, but it's on the accent.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, the people you can tell, like, with the accent,
it is noticeably different.
Yeah, so I mean, it's probably the same with Spanish and Latin American Spanish. So anyway, there you go. This is now a language
lesson.
There you go, a language lesson.
A French fun fact: Darth Vader is called Dark Vader in French because you can't do the th sound.
Really?
Yeah, you can't go. It's Dark Vader in French.
That's hilarious.
Which I thought was a typo the first time I saw it, and then my roommate's like, no, that's just
That
what it
was
is.
another cool thing when we went to Disneyland Paris, because we literally did like the last they do these like seasons, kind of like the other parks do, and we did a Legends of the Force. And the cast member will come out and they will ask anglais or français, will say anglais, and so Darth Vader's literally changing his voice, but
Oh my
hearing Darth Vader in French is scary, because I guess because I don't understand what he's saying, so I am literally just like, whatever you want, okay.
Sure.
And Phasma too. Like there was like a march.
Oh,
It's on my
yeah.
Instagram somewhere from. It was like last year, but it was like you could hear, and she's doing the march on just "Onez-vous." I'm butchering it. It's basically about face and like turn left, turn right, but it just sounded so badass. Yeah, because it's in a
Darth
mask,
Vader
but
is scary no matter what language. When I saw him at Disneyland, California, I went by myself, walked into the room. He took one step towards me. I took two steps back. Like just the part of my brain kicked it. Like part of my brain knows it's a guy in a costume, but the bigger part of my brain is like, what have you done to incur Darth Vader's wrath? So I just took two steps back.
I think the only one that I just like I couldn't take serious was Kylo Ren. Just hearing his mask in French, it was just like.
My problem with Kylo Ren is I know Adam Driver is taller than me, but the park's Kylo Ren is shorter than me. Like, okay.
Everybody's taller than me. I'm 5'4", so hey ho, everyone's taller than me. But speaking of 5'4", this is a very random segue, but Carrie Fisher was 5'4", and it was her birthday yesterday. And you shared some great like top 5.5, like with or top 5 with a bonus kind of ways to celebrate her. And I wanted to speak about her too, because actually the podcast namesake is a play on one of her books, Postcards from the Edge, and then of course Galaxy's Edge. So it made sense. And Carrie Fisher has really been quite an inspiration to me. I actually find Carrie Fisher more inspirational to me than Princess Leia ever was. Like I always loved Princess Leia. And it's funny, this also will slightly tie into our main discussion of how you and I met and where this all came from, because we heard all these wonderful moments from women and the Star Wars fandom. But yeah, I miss her dearly. I also like that she was a champion for mental health. She kind of made it okay to be like, I'm effed up, but you know what? I own it, and just be your true self. And I don't know. I'm not vocalizing it very well, but
But you're feeling it. It's coming from the heart.
yeah. But so now it's awesome, and yeah, I have a fun like story and memory. So
Oh yes.
me and my better half, we we went to like a London kind of Comic-Con. It wasn't like the official London Comic-Con, but it was like in Earl's Court or something like that. And she was doing photo ops and autographs. Well, she canceled her photo op in the afternoon because she wasn't feeling well. So we were like, okay, fine, we'll wait in the queue and we will get the autograph. But then the deal between me and my better half was you get your name on it, but I get to speak to her. I was like, fair enough. Yeah, that's awesome. And so I have a signed photo. And the best part is, let's see if I can do this right. If you look at between the two ends, there's a break.
Yeah, you're right there.
Yeah, there's a break, because obviously she's writing in cursive or joined up or whatever. Every country has its own name, because she actually stopped and was like, is it two N's or one? So she stopped to double check the spelling of my name and everything. And so just to see that kind of nuance, it wasn't just it was just, yeah, it was really cool. And, we were talking about, I really enjoy her, and so does my better half as an author. And so we were saying, we're both a little bit weird, but we really liked your book kind of thing. She's like, oh, embrace the weird. And of course, Gary was literally right there with his tongue sticking out. But it was really cool. Really cool. So yeah, so it was really neat seeing everyone's kind of I can't top your top 5. Like that was awesome. I watched that this morning and I was just like, heck yeah. I think the only sad thing is we don't have Looking for Leia in the UK. I still have
Not
not
even on
seen it.
YouTube?
Nope. No, I have to see if I can try to find it on YouTube, but
We just got it internationally here. Let me see who's carrying it. Maybe I can send it because the Sci-Fi Channel doesn't work here.
yeah, and
But we got
that's
it internationally some other ways, so maybe I can.
yeah, because I'd love to
And
see, because
if
I
it's
actually
available,
because I
I'll make it.
reached out to some of the production crew of Looking for Leia when they were first kind of looking for editors, and I said, hey, I'm an editor professionally. I would love to help with the project in any way. Obviously, nothing came out of it, and that's totally cool. But I think I didn't go to the main person at Celebration. I just said, oh, someone was like, oh, I was looking for Leia. And I didn't know everyone's name, or I
Right.
wasn't in the sphere like I am now. Like Celebration, hopefully I get to go, is like gonna be different because obviously I didn't know anybody like when I went. So that's how I met Jerry, and I, didn't know you. So it'll be a whole lot more people
Oh
to
yeah.
say hi, and you'll get hugs from this little munchkin kind of being like, hi.
It'll be that, like, I was gonna go this year, but I didn't know anybody in the community when I bought my ticket, but now I do, so now it'll be different.
Well, it was funny
I'll
because like
find
I didn't like I really pushed for 2019 because it was the last for a while film cinema, and
right.
so and Disney Plus obviously at that time hadn't come out, so we didn't know what it was going to be. So it was one of those like, well, I'm definitely going to go, and we have this big hype of this movie and everything, and seeing I still tear up when I watch the reactions to the trailer and just feeling that emotion in there, just so. But I think now 2022 is going to mean more on like a personal level, because it's like we got through it, guys. All the Twitter hate and drama and cancel culture and all this, we're here. We
And a
made it.
pandemic.
Yeah, well, that too.
We got through a
Mhm.
pandemic together.
Oh, I know that too. Like, yeah. So it's just one of those like I probably will be hugging and crying at the same time to be like, I'm finally meeting you after 3 years. But yeah,
Oh my god, that's right, it will be 3 years.
yeah, it'll be a while, but it's okay. We got
It's okay.
we have things to do. And speaking of which, kind of talking a little bit on the pandemic, one of the things and how you and I actually got in touch was I wasn't quite sure what my life was going to be like, obviously trying to do a podcast and what's going on with my job and things. So I just took a step back and started doing more like a documentary style. And this is why Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge just kind of took a back seat, because also it's kind of hard to talk about things when you're worried about your loved ones and in the heart of the pandemic. And it's funny, the first episode of what I is a 4-part series called The Moment Star Wars Spoke to Me is based off different groups of the fandom, and no one or other is better or separated or anything. It's just you hear different opinions.
Different perspective.
And yeah, so it made sense to do the ladies first, because I had the idea in January and then started reaching out, because I think you actually reached out to me and
Yeah,
you were
you put
like,
out a call on
yeah.
Twitter, and then I was like, "This sounds like fun," and then I'm going, "I have a dinky blog with, like, 3 posts on it, and I'm not much of anybody." And then an article of mine got published on StarWarsRepMatters.com. I'm like, "Okay, that's fine, that's valid enough." And then it's up to you.
Yeah, I remember you saying that. And I was like, you're still, come on down. You were still part of it. Definitely. And you were actually the first person to submit your stuff too. Like you were literally the first person that sent me the footage and everything. And what was your moments for
My moment that spoke to me as a woman was Admiral Holdo's character arc. Specifically, what I was thinking was the moment she drives the ship, the Raddus, through the Star Destroyer. Because she gets a lot of unnecessary hate.
Mm.
I know a lot of people say she should have done this, she should have done that. Like, she's the boss. She shouldn't have done any of that. She doesn't owe this recently demoted. I love Poe Dameron with all my heart, don't get me wrong, but she does not owe this recently demoted pilot an explanation.
Yeah.
Maybe in this case, it would have helped. How is she supposed to know that? If
Well,
if
yeah.
an admiral shows up and says, "This is what we're doing, please do it," she is operating under the expectation that they will do it. So I just felt in that moment that she was getting a lot of unnecessary hate. I'm like, well, I'm gonna say something because I don't know. I liked her, and I feel somebody
No,
needs to stand up for Holdo.
well, what I liked about it was I got obviously, as we were just talking about Carrie Fisher, I got a lot of Princess Leia. And obviously my moment and like Lacey Gillerin and somebody else was Ray and things like that. But to get Holdo, that was great, because I had only kind of heard, because again, I wasn't as tapped in quite yet to the fandom, but was like, oh, Admiral Holdo, it should have just been Akbar that like took it out and rah, 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 rah. So to hear someone go, why they liked it and go into, I was just like, yes, okay, this is this. And it really just showed me, I was like, okay, I need to keep doing these, because I'm learning. And actually, because I wasn't actually a big fan of Holdo at first. I was like, I love Laura Dern. I mean,
Yeah,
she's always Ellie Sattler. Like,
she's an
I
icon.
remember I remember because Jurassic Park came out when I was like in second grade, and I wanted to be a paleontologist. And I remember the boys on the playground were like, "Girls can't be paleontologists." And then Jurassic Park came out that summer, and I literally was just like, "What now?" Obviously, it wasn't like tough, but yeah.
No,
But it was really cool. So she will always be like Ellie Sattler from Jurassic Park to me. But then seeing her in, The Last Jedi, at first I was just kind of like, man, I wanted to see more. It's a shame that she kind of went. And I think the thing about The Last Jedi is you need to really digest it. And actually the same can be said for Prose. It was just one of those like, so by seeing, what I'm getting at is by seeing your moment, it actually made me appreciate it even more, and actually maybe really relook on her character. And actually I need to read, because she's fleshed out more in Princess of Alderaan, and things like that, which you also let me know. So I was like, okay, I gotta get that on audiobook. Just waiting for Audible to get it, because again, North America always gets the audiobooks, not quite the UK.
Like, I understand the inclination that people had to want Admiral Akbar to do it. I never felt that way, because I honestly, until The Force Awakens, like when I really dove into this, could not have told you without checking which movie Admiral Akbar was in. Like, that's how attached I am to the Fishman. So when somebody's like, he just died unceremoniously on the Radis, my first thing was, he was on the Radis? I didn't notice. I'm just not paying attention. So but the thing is, I think somebody had, without a trace of irony, said that not only should he have driven the ship into the Star Destroyer, but he should have shouted, "It's a trap," while he did. I'm like, this isn't Reddit. Like, this isn't the sub-thread for like prequel memes. Like, this isn't what this is.
Yeah.
That wouldn't have paid off narratively the way this did.
Yeah. Do you think sometimes because you have a writer's viewpoint, because you're a professional writer, because you are, like, does that, like, sometimes do you think that hinders it a little bit? Or not hinders, but you can
It affects the way I see it.
Yeah. Hinders
Like, the thing with, and I promise this is the last time I'll talk about trust today. The thing about it is, with The Last Jedi, you're right. It needs to be digested. Like, the first time I saw it, I didn't really know what to make of it. Then I saw it again. I'm like, okay, so this is one of those things where the harder you look at it, the more you scratch away at the surface and see what they were going for.
Yeah.
Whereas my feeling from a storytelling point of view is, the closer I look at trust, the more I have a harder time seeing a story and more seeing a storyteller's decision. Like, we're doing this because I want to explain this, because it looks cool, but I'm like, but this doesn't, to me anyway. I know I love people who
please
love this movie,
especially
but to
people
me,
in the comments, they're
doesn't.
watching it.
The
you like it,
closer I
great.
look at it, the more it falls apart.
Yeah.
So that's my angle on it. I'm just sitting here casually saying that I could write a better story. Please don't hate me. Like, I just give it to somebody else. Let them take a non-nostalgic pass at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then come back.
Definitely. So yeah, all systems, or all remaining systems, I think kind of nailed it. He's like, I couldn't believe people took Akbar that seriously when he's mostly known for a moment of his incompetence. That's a huge joke among fans. It's a trap.
There you go.
Well
One thing
said.
I do like about Akbar is his son's name is Aftab, which means sunshine in Persian, which I like.
Really?
Yeah. I think it's funny he named his son Sun, but that's a whole other thing. That's my own personal joke. Me and two other people think this is funny.
But that's good. And that's leading into kind of our
Oh, yes.
Yes.
An unintentional segue.
That works. So, not to leave the other two episodes obviously forgotten. So, of course, I wanted to hear the male perspective, but obviously I didn't want to just have like guys, because and actually that's when I had joined the network, because like this documentary is kind of my first premiere on the actual network. And so we have several fathers, and I was like, you know what, we got to hear the father's perspective, especially with the sequel trilogy, and now The Mandalorian having that kind of father-son or father-daughter arc, what they talk about. And again, we had some great moments, like hearing about like that moment where Ben Solo sees his father, and all the more reason why I totally agree that that's the moment it should have been him, not Anakin, kind of thing. And I
100%.
feel, slight hot take, I feel like if people are saying, oh, it should have been Anakin, you may not be a dad and not understand why. But there are some great moments. And then it's interesting. We kind of we had you on board for the third episode as like a coordinator and a producer
Yeah.
for the moment it spoke to, I guess because it was the moment Star Wars spoke to me as a woman, the moment Star Wars spoke to me as a father. But then when I asked you about, like, I was like, you helped with the titles because I was like, well, I don't want to. How do you say like for LGBT, but like without putting LGBT? And you had the greatest suggestion of saying, well, put with love, and it actually worked out. But the other thing was, this was the first time it was kind of like, okay, we're now hitting a kind of group of people that it's starting, but there's definitely room for more. So it was very interesting, a different kind of narrative, or not narrative, but just like people's moments. Yeah, and this is where I definitely pulled your writer chops. I was like, okay, when we ask for people for moments, because we want to keep obviously still a positive tone, but not censor the message, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
You could explain this part a bit better. Like,
it's like we wanted to still have the focus be what you liked about it, but we were acknowledging that you can't, like, I can unabashedly love Holdo's character arc, but the kind of representation for the LGBTQ plus episode it's always going to be tempered by the fact that there isn't a lot of it.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to acknowledge that too, that, what do you want going forward?
Yeah. So, and then this is now our latest episode, which we were really kind of starting to dive in headfirst. And then that's when a lot of the Black Lives Matter thing was really kicking off. And I remember reaching out to you and I was like, I really feel this is still important, but is it in good taste, kind of thing. I never wanted it to seem like, oh, I'm just doing this as an opportunity and things like that. So Arzu has been full on like producer, and really because this last episode isn't, I mean, I'm editing it and putting it together, but it isn't my voice. And that's why it's like, I really will let you kind of talk about it, kind of thing, about our.
So yeah, when you see this video, you're going to see me 3 times because I start it and I end it, and then I have my own moments in the middle. But a different shirt every time. But so, just something to keep an eye out on. So so the thing with this episode is that it's not as easy to pin down moments because it's called With Hope, and the focus is BIPOC fans. So it is less easy to pin down those moments for some of us because with our With Love episode, there are a lot of things that could speak to people as an LGBTQ plus person that are on an emotional level. So things like Ahsoka leaving the Jedi Order is something that could speak to you in that way. But short of your characters sort of living through a conflict, and maybe people like you have lived through a conflict or something like that, short of that, you can't really take an experience and translate it to BIPOC representation. It's you're there or you're not. So that was the challenge with the episode. So I think of all of them, this one has the biggest focus on what I want to see in the future, because that's what most of us focused on was this, but this is what I want in the future.
Yeah.
There's a much heavier focus on what isn't there.
Yeah. But I mean, it's still and there are some people that they are pretty strong with how they feel, and that is absolutely fine, because we've had many conversations kind of offline where it's like, I just always approach it from an editing. And also I know as an editor, documentaries can be very manipulative. Like, you can manipulate what someone is saying. So there's been a few people where we've had a conversation going, right, I don't want to have their message missed or what they're trying to say accidentally be misrepresented. Kind of thing. But we've had some fantastic, I'm really excited, and actually it's got me like, I'm so pumped. Like, say, I know it's not quite Star Wars related, but I messaged you yesterday, I'm so pumped for Raya and the last dragon and that trailer. And what stood out to me is they I felt in a good way purposely just showed 4 distinct, because I believe it's supposed to be Southeast Asia. Yeah. And they made a point, and that's a big region, and they made a point of like showing 4 very different looking people when she's saying this part in the trailer, and I'm just,
yeah.
ugh. But the cool thing is, for me, it's like, I guess, and this is where Arzu's really been teaching me, I don't see that kind of stuff. I'm just like, oh my god, this is a cool character. Look at the amazing dynamic lighting and the music. And like, Moana is one of my favorite Disney films. And I don't see that, obviously realize, oh, that's made ground, leaps and bounds because of showing the, I don't want to say, I don't want to say the wrong group. Thank you. I thought it was Polynesian, but I didn't want to say the wrong group kind of thing. So, and I'm so happy for Kelly Marie Tran. Like,
yes.
I'm ready for her to have her renaissance kind of thing. I think she's going to absolutely smash it. I secretly want a documentary, just like Frozen got on Disney Plus.
Get it.
Yeah. If which you haven't watched, is absolutely fascinating, because it's very similar to what, like, it's like being in visual effects. I'm like watching it, I was like, oh my god, this is my day job. And the whole chaos of like, oh, we have to adjust this, and oh, this isn't working. And it's just, the only difference is in visual effects, you don't have the narrative choices. Like, I mean, I think the only one that was very similar to that was Lion King, because obviously Jon Favreau was right there and we did all the visual effects for it, and it practically was an all visual effect film. But it, so yeah, I'm very excited for Raya and the Dragon, and I hope that area of people are excited about that too, because that's the other thing. I don't want to be ignorant, being like, yay, great representation for you, and then they're like, no, it's wrong. I'm like, oh,
well, there are some people who feel that, it's, which is the same problem people had with Moana, the same problem arguably that we could have with Aladdin, is that it is painting an entire region with a very broad brush.
Of course.
So which is a criticism I understand, because as much as I like the new Aladdin, like the live action, I understand that by lumping absolutely everybody in one group and then not having anybody of that group behind the scenes, then that does wind up painting the Middle East with an extremely broad, vaguely South Asian brush. So but at the end of the day, I still enjoy it because it's still a net positive of like a Middle Eastern love story. So I'm okay with it.
Yes.
And it's the same thing with Raya. Like, some people are like, this is too broad because Southeast Asia is huge. But then I see other reactions from other people where they're like, oh my God, I have an outfit like this, or somebody I know wears their hair this way, or like, that just these little things that feel so familiar. I'm like, this is nice. Like, this is a good thing, because it's what representation should be. It shouldn't just be like you exist to be the representation. It's like you exist to tell a story, but everything in the background is going to ring true for the person you were trying to represent.
Yeah, because that's something I've been learning by like having conversations and listening to people share their moments and things, is what's the difference between having like true representation and having it be appropriation. Is that the word?
Right.
Yeah.
Like tokenism almost.
Yeah, like it's a caricature or something, like you're just like, and so that's been very insightful for me. So I guess really like that's just, I don't know. I know right now time is crap, and everybody is struggling with something. So that's why I was just like, let's embrace, and we're waiting for new content. It was like, let's embrace what we have so far and what we love. And I mean, we got a moment that literally just kind of snuck in at the last minute, and it's really exciting. Like, I never even thought about it, and I'm gonna put you on the spot. I want you to kind of share your moment.
My moment? Okay.
Yes.
So my moment came in two parts. So part of it is from an essay in one of the Age of Resistance comics, in the Rose Tico comic, where the writer is basically talking about how excited she was to see Rose Tico for the first time, because it's somebody who looks very familiar to her. And the reason that was a moment for me is that I am envious and I want that for myself. So that was part of it. And then the other part of it was on The Mandalorian, the character of Dr. Pershing, who I have officially now spoken about for maybe 10 times his runtime on the show. I talk about him all the time. I'm extremely excited at the possibility of them going to Camino in season 2 and him coming back. But so that's the other thing, is that he's played by an Iranian American actor. And just jumped out at me when I was watching it, because I've seen him in something else. So I was like, oh my God, an Iranian guy. And it's like one of those things where I didn't know what I was missing until I got it.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that was my moment, but I will go on more about it in the episode. Complete with maybe a screenshot of the one time I tweeted at him in excitement.
Yes, I was just about to say, you're going to talk about the tweet.
I can talk about the tweet. So I saw him, and it's one of those things where I tell myself a stupid joke and laugh about it. I'm like, maybe somebody else should hear it too. So I just tweeted that I had So I just tweeted that I had seen him in The Mandalorian, playing a doctor, because even in the galaxy far, far away, Iranian kids only get 3 career choices. And like the standard joke is doctor, engineer, or lawyer. Lawyer is for the artsy kids. So that was like what I'm like, because apparently even then we only have 3 jobs to choose from. And then he sees it, retweets it, and he's like, he just spit his coffee out.
I thought he said tea.
And I'm like, see, he gets it. Like, this is what this kind of representation means, is that we can make these little jokes like that would not have been available to me with another actor playing the part. So,
do you know what I also liked, and I was thinking about when I was editing your moment, what I like is also, he's not a villain.
No,
he even says, no, he's alive because of me, you know,
he's
like,
trying to save the baby.
You know, he's not a villain. Like, that's the other thing I always worry about. It's like, oh, only certain, you know, nationalities play villains, and so that's why I liked that. I was like, he's like, no, he's alive because of me, kind of thing.
I'll go ahead and say it. They put a Middle Eastern guy in there, and he's not a terrorist.
You're allowed to say
it. I'll say it because I know you can't. But it's true. It's true, especially in a world like Star Wars. How easy would it be to put a Middle Eastern guy in there and then have him be a terrorist?
Yeah.
And he's not.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Knowing what little I do know about, like, I can't speak for Dave, but obviously working and hearing daily conversations with Jon Favreau, like, I know they think about those things and they really take on board, but it doesn't feel shoehorned. Like, I personally feel that it's obvious everything always still has a way to go, but I still personally feel The Mandalorian has the biggest kind of cast of characters that are different. Like, a lot, I could be wrong, help me out here, but I feel like there is, you know,
they have taken strides of that. They have they have Pedro Pascal in the lead. They've got a lot of African American actors. Like, they are taking steps that way, which I don't know if that came from maybe people not being sure about the show, so they didn't care too much and just let them cast wider, because I don't want to drag it. I haven't seen it. I don't know. But of all the casting announcements we got, was an awful lot of white people now that it's a sure thing.
Actually, I never thought about that.
I mean, there's a couple, like the rumor of Rosario Dawson, and his name just flew out of my head, but Boba Fett, maybe.
Oh, God. Timothy. Oh, no. Tamora Morrison.
Tamora Morrison. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, other than that, everybody else is white. But I don't know if that's just because that's...
Yeah.
I don't know why. But the tendency seems to be like you can take more risks when they don't think it's a sure thing.
Nah,
but I hope that the trend continues and that they continue to cast a wide, diverse net.
Yeah,
because it's been good so far.
So. I want the chick from episode 4 to come back.
Omera.
Yes. Oh,
I shook it so hard. She needs to come back.
Yeah, she was awesome. Like,
the reason he's not in the sequel trilogy is because he settled down with Omera.
Yeah, there you go.
To raise their children, her daughter and Baby Yoda.
There you go. But so yeah, I mean, it's coming out. So it's the moment Star Wars spoke to me, and it is premiering next Thursday on this network, the Beyond the Blast Doors network. And if you're new to this network or the show or everything, we have something every day for you. So Monday we've got Josh and Andy from the Holo Chronicles, which cover all things collecting. We kind of hijacked it for Monday Night Football on this Monday, but they are fantastic, and I mean, they get all the fun toys. Absolutely love them. Tuesday is Around the Galaxy with Pete, which is kind of like a talk show. Beyond the Actor Studio, interview, and the
Actor Studio,
the John Lipton show, or Inside the Actor Studio. That's it. And then now we've swapped. So Beyond the Best.
Beyond the Blast Doors Live,
so well.
Wednesday nights 10 Eastern with David Emilotti, Pete Fletcher, and myself as the new co-host.
I get so tongue-tied. Everyone makes it look so easy, and then I'm trying to do it off the cuff, and it's just like, nope.
You've been carrying this show for almost an hour now. I'll help you out at the end.
Then Thursday is me with Postcards from the Galaxy's Edge, where we're going to kind of talk more reflective stuff. Also, some gaming things. I'm really big into Star Wars gaming. Like I said, Voodoo Squadron is the network's kind of Twitch flying. You can become part of it. So Arzu, we got to get you on it. We'll be the Night Sisters kind of thing. Yes, very much so. So that's Thursdays. And then Fridays is kind of it's Fridays kind of like our game night or like wild card. We've had bounty hunters on. Sometimes we're gonna have like streaming Star Wars is coming back in the morning during when the Mandalorian is out and things like so. Friday is our wild card, and of course to finish off your weekly podcast, we have Scotty and Jerry with the Bombad cast, which is always a fun trip. You never know what you are going to get. It's good Saturday feels, definitely. So that is us at the Beyond the Blast Doors network. So yes, the moment Star Wars spoke to me will be premiering next week and things like that. But yeah, I wanted to try to talk a little bit about the behind the scenes, but because it's interesting. There's like for the documentary.
It was a lot of coordination. Big thank you to my friend Swara, who put me in touch with most, if not all, of the people.
Oh, no, cool! I didn't realize that.
He was the one who gave me almost all of the names.
Oh, nice! Thank you, Swara.
So, project literally would not exist without him. So, thank you to him. And it was just a lot of like reaching out and coordination. And then the nice thing is, like for our first 3 episodes, a lot of the people in them are fairly well known in our circle. Like they are generally content creators, podcasters, whatever. But this was a little different. Like they are also content creators, but maybe less well known in this network circle anyway. So that was nice. It was like it's a whole new set of voices for the upcoming video.
Absolutely.
Except for me, who like this week will be appearing 3 times.
Well, it's funny because like it just happened that you joined the network and we've been working on stuff together for like 4 months, and it was just like, you know what? I think ours is awesome.
We made it official.
Yeah, we did. We made it absolutely official. But yeah, mad props to you because it is what people don't realize. It's a lot of coordinating. It's a lot of communication. Things like, how do you spell your name? What's your Twitter handle? Do you have photos so we could put it for the closing credits? Finding the footage for what they're talking about. Because some of those moments are very specific. Like the with loved one, like you had to help out because Scotty Gibson was the one from the Aftermath, and you read the
sat there reading Aftermath out loud into my microphone.
I mean, and it was so hard. I couldn't even find like fan art of these two, and I was just like, so you got to get very creative sometimes. Like it's just one of those like, oh my god. But there's one moment, I don't want to spoil it, but like it's from like the not the Clone Wars, but like the other animated Clone Wars. I don't know the name, but it looks more like an anime.
2005 Clone Wars.
Yeah, it's like I forget the name, but it's like more of an anime style. And you and I were chatting. You're like, "How did you find this?" I was like, "You luckily had the spelling of the people, and I was able to find it. Otherwise, I would not have been able to find it."
There's a couple of moments too. We were talking about this before, where some things are pretty straightforward. It's this moment when this happened, and then you can pull the footage for that. But there's a couple of moments when people are discussing more broad concepts within like the sequel trilogy or whatever, where Shannon's like, but what do we show? Because it's an audio recording, so you can't just cut back to the speaker. So what do we show to make sure that these broad concepts come across? So we sort of have to think of like which bits of footage to pull and put together so that you get the logical jump that the speaker is making.
Yes, because also you have to be careful what you're showing, because half of, obviously the visual medium is half of show and half what you hear. So they could be seeing something really positive, and then you're putting like a negative image. People are going to see the negative image, or vice versa. So it's kind of like,
let's just make this very clear that it's like this and then this and then this and then this. So
there's
like
been many
because I have no editing skills.
But
like
this
the
is
first video I sent her, the best I could do was hack out my outtakes, and even now I don't bother anymore. She just gets raw footage from me.
I'm just like, nah, done. Bish bash bosh. We're good. It's hilarious. She'll be like, sorry, there's some swearing in it.
Yeah,
I'm like, it's okay.
I think my intro, I stop in the middle, swore twice, and then just picked it up again.
Yeah, so I'm very excited, and again, I'm also very excited to have new voices and faces and things people never really thought of, because I know a lot of them is things I never even thought of, and I'm very excited.
Our last moment, that when we just got that, I don't want to spoil this for anybody, but I hadn't thought of it mostly, but there's one of the things she mentioned going, yeah, that did occur to me.
Yeah,
like sort of with the kind of rep she's talking about, I'm like, that did occur to me for about a second, but then to see her apply it more broadly was pretty cool.
Yeah. So it's going to be great, and just thanks to everyone who's been checking it out and people who have been participating. I've met so many fantastic people, and it's been a blast. And it all started with you, Arzu, being my first person, being like, "Yeah, I'll send you some moments that spoke to me as a woman." Heck yeah! And I'm like, "Yes, it just needs one." Yes, okay.
One to get it going.
So that's why it's interesting how quickly life has gotten us to where you're now part of the network. Whereas when we first started this journey, we were both just like, I wasn't even part of the network. I was just like, I'm a podcaster. Oh, I write a blog, and look at us now, like
I almost
5
didn't
months
send you.
later.
I almost didn't send you my moment initially. After I got in touch, I'm like, maybe I should pick something else because it was the Last Jedi moment, and I didn't know how you felt about the Last Jedi. I'm like, what if she just doesn't use it because she doesn't like the movie? Obviously, you're not like that, but I didn't
No,
know
but
you're
of course you don't know that. Like you could be like, oh,
I wanted to post something about getting involved with this on my blog, which is a post I still haven't written. But I want to, I'm like, but then what if she doesn't use it because she doesn't like The Last Jedi, and then I look stupid? So I just didn't post it.
oh,
Maybe I will at the end of the year in like a
you
retrospective.
should.
But
Yeah, absolutely. I got someone. Oh, so people are asking when they're going to fly with us in squadrons and things like that. I don't know because time zones. Like it's 8:30 for me. It's what 7:30 for you. No, sorry,
3:30 for me.
3:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most of the network is on in the evenings. I'm not because I'm still trying to not just spin in a circle when I'm supposed to be going straight. Like I can't play for more than 15 minutes at a time because I make myself nauseous. So
I get angry. Like I like I can't find them. I can't find the ships. Where I'm just like, wait, where are you? I need to finish the story mode. So I finished Jedi Fallen
same.
Order today. So yeah, we're ready to go. But with that, we are right at an hour and things. So Arzu, thank you. It's been an amazing journey. It's gonna be interesting when it's all over. Kind of like
What now?
what now?
We'll think of
That's why I
something,
was
I'm
like,
sure.
okay, guess Postcards of the Galaxy's Edge needs to come back. But now it's different because I'm part of a network, can't be saying the same stuff. But yeah, it'll be fine. It'll
Yeah.
be absolutely
You're gonna be good.
fine.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
fun.
So let everybody know, where can they find you?
So you can find me on Twitter at Arzu Amin. You can find me writing for beyondtheblastdoors.com and for thegeekywaffle.com. I write and contribute there as well. I am at my own website, rzudt2.com, and I am on this network Wednesday nights at 10 Eastern on Beyond the Blast Doors Live. I'm the new kid in town. I'm the new co-host.
It's awesome. It's awesome. And you can find me at PCGE_podcast, or you could also find me streaming on Twitch all things Star Wars games at shenanigan_plays, which that is an EN at the end, not an AN. And yeah, just playing all things kind of Star Wars, gonna throw in some Sims soon. Squadrons, always still doing some Battlefront 2. Jedi Fallen Order, I think, is gonna get a break now because there's a lot of rage quitting. But you can find me and Arzu. We're both part of Voodoo Squadron. We will eventually see you all in the stars. Just got to get our training wheels off so we can actually contribute. And of course, you can also find all that information on the website, which is beyondtheblastdoors.com. So yeah, that is it. So thank you very much for coming on, Arzu. And yeah, we will all see you guys next time.